we will go ahead and get started. Just as a reminder, I understand that next week is your last week of this session. So sign up for the next one for the November through December. I didn't look to see what Sandy's class is, if it was a 6-week or an 8-week because of the holiday in there, but I'm sure it takes us up to the holiday time. The registration is open if you want to go out there. So welcome, everyone. Hello, Tobias. I'm going to just check you in and then we'll go from there. Okay. So let's go ahead, get yourself settled onto your mat, whether you want to start in a seated position or if you want to start lying down. I'm just going to give you a heads up. Once we kind of get into the practice, we are going to take a nice portion of this evening on our back for a little bit there. So just know that that's where we're going to go. So if you want to start on your back, you're welcome to, or you can go ahead and start in a seated. We'll do some seated stuff first and then make our way onto our backs. But go ahead and get yourself nice and comfortable into your seat. Coming into your breath, roll those shoulders back and down. Settle into the earth as you slowly begin to settle ourselves into our practice this evening. Coming into your breath. Knowing that we're taking this time for ourselves with one another in this room, in this presence, in this space with God. So using that breath, begin to focus inwardly. Drawing nice long breaths. Knowing that we breathe in to nourish and we breathe out to cleanse. Following that breath throughout your body. Finding those little spaces. Maybe taking that little bit of a body scan with that breath. Just getting a sense of how the body feels this evening. Knowing that our practice this evening is the practice of instilled peace. So finding that nice inner peace. Connecting your body, mind, and spirit. Taking this time to slow down. Taking this time for yourself. I invite you to use as your breath prayer this evening, breathing in, I receive peace. Breathing out, I give peace. I receive peace. I give peace. Continuing to let that breath weave its way through your body. Drawing that breath in, maybe this time, this week, we're going to bring it down through the back of our spine, down the spine, and then back up through the front. Make that circle with your breath. Find that breath going all the way down the back, down your spine, all the way down deep into the belly. And then as you release that breath, find it come up through the front, up through your chest, through the front part of your throat and out. Our scripture this evening can be found in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. God is not a God of disorder, but a God of peace. God is not a God of disorder, but a God of peace. Peace is a matter of the heart. Giving and receiving peace is the first step to visualizing what peace could look like when practiced in a chaotic world. When we watch the world through the lens of the nightly news, and when we experience chaos in our own or other persons' lives, we are moved to search for a place of stability, order, and peace. The peace we are searching for is indwelling, instilled in us by a loving God. Instilled peace moves us from the idea of peace as one-time expression to an established practice or way of living. When we practice recognizing the indwelling peace of Jesus, we experience order out of chaos. We experience God's very nature, and that reestablishes peace. So in our yoga and faith practice, we use the time on our mats to experience our calming breath, slow our heart rate, and reconnect with God's promise of peace in the midst of our lives. This is a practice that lives off the mat and into the world, so that when we share that peace, we truly share the peace of Jesus. I invite you to gently begin to roll out your neck. As always, listening to your body as to what it needs as you roll out that neck. Maybe that's from side to side, or maybe all the way around, or maybe it's dropping it down on one side, dropping that ear towards the shoulder, holding for a breath or two, and then transferring to the other side. But take that time in your own breath and your own movement, connecting your body, mind, and spirit. Breathing in that peace and releasing peace. Finding your way back to center. Let's draw those shoulders up towards the ears. Roll them back and down. Let's take that through a few times. And the next time when you come to the top, let's go ahead and rotate forward and around. And finding your way back to stillness, drawing those hands to heart center. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take those hands up through the center, open up our palms up towards the heavens. As our palms are up towards the heavens, we are receiving God's love and God's peace. Now, keeping those palms up, draw your hands down in front. Sweep them down through the arms, draw them back. On those palms is that peace. Pass it to your neighbor back behind. Sharing that peace. And then let's draw those hands back around out to the side. Share that love and peace with your neighbors to the side. Draw those arms around, draw them forward, and share that love and peace with those out in front. Coming to heart center and closing that peace within yourself. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Reaching up towards the heaven, let God's love and peace shine down. Bring that peace down towards you and draw it back to your neighbors. Drawing those palms forward and off to the side, share with those. And then find your way back forward. Sharing that sign of peace, let's go ahead, come to heart center, drop the chin, and let that peace flow within you. With your next breath, let's take those arms out nice and wide, sweep those arms up, and let's go ahead and lean to the right. Finding your way back to center. Release over to the left. Coming back to center. Take those arms, sweep them back behind, press them down onto the mat, open your hearts and chest up towards them. And then gently make your way back. Take a moment to just kind of roll those shoulders out, but we're going to make our way down onto our backs here. Coming down onto our backs and with our knees up. So let's go ahead, find your way down. Our knees are about hip distance apart. And we're going to go ahead from here. Take that right leg, draw it in towards your chest. Actually wrapping your hand underneath behind your leg. And we're going to go ahead from here. Let's just roll out that ankle. Roll out that ankle. Keep the hip stationary. Just roll out ankle clockwise and counterclockwise. And then taking your arms out down by your side, keeping that leg still at that 45 degree, or I guess is that 90 degrees? It's at that L shape. Draw the leg in towards your chest. Pull it in as you can without using your hands. Just kind of pull it in. Pull it in. Your arms are down by your side, and you're gently pulling that leg in as close as you can in towards your chest. Find that way in and hold for the breath. Pulling that leg in, just using your own strength within that leg, pressing your back into the mat. And then now go ahead slowly, extend that leg down towards the mat, extending that leg straight, hovering it over the mat. Keeping it a little bit off the ground, anchoring there. Hovering, hovering. And go ahead and release it down. Release that leg down. Draw the other knee in towards your chest, this time wrapping on top, and draw that left knee in towards our chest. Draw it in nice and tight in towards our chest. And then draw the right knee in towards the chest. Give yourself a nice good squeeze. Roll out your finding your way into stillness. Place that right foot on the mat, knee is up, and then reach behind the left leg. And let's go ahead and roll out that ankle. Release those hands down by the mat, down by your side, and then draw that knee in towards your chest. Moving it in. And then slowly release it down straight, down on the mat, hovering just over the. Placing that foot down on the mat, draw the right knee in, grabbing on top, pulling that in nice and tight. Take the left leg, draw that in nice and tight, come in and roll out that back. Now extending that right leg back down on the mat, all the way down. Grabbing behind the left leg again. This time what we're going to do is keep that ankle and our hips stationary, and try and just rotate at the knee. Rotate from the knee on down in little circles. So instead of at the ankle, you're doing it at the knee, trying to keep that hip stationary. Just rotate at the knee. Clockwise and counterclockwise. And then let's go ahead and release and draw the other leg out. Let's repeat on the other side. Go ahead and rotate at the knee. And then come into stillness, draw both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a nice good squeeze, roll out that back. And then grabbing at your knees, let's go ahead and push them out towards the sides. Let's go ahead and push them out towards the side. Gently rocking from side to side. But then what we're going to do, I have my hands on the top of my knees. I'm going to pull them in towards my chest, bending at the elbows, pull them in. And then I'm going to push away as far as I can, straightening those arms. I'm going to feel it in that lower back. And then pull them back in again. Pull those knees in. And then release, straightening out those arms. And gently go back and forth, just kind of drawing the knees in and the elbows are bent, and then push away those knees, extending those arms. Working at your pace with your breath. Staying strong through your core, strong through that belly. Let's take that through one more time. Finding your way back to center here. Let's go ahead, drop those feet nice and wide to the outer edges of your mat. Your toes are maybe kind of turned out. Your heels are actually maybe still on your mat. Toes are kind of hanging over the edge. Our arms are down by our side. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up into a bridge. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lower down, but not all the way down. We're going to just kind of like do a half come down on that bridge. So let's go ahead and come in with that breath. So as you inhale up into that bridge. And then just lower halfway down with your breath. And let's work through that flow at your pace as you inhale up. And then exhale partway down, halfway down. Working in and out with that breath. Take that through one more time. And then we'll all be back down with our backs onto the mat. Draw those knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice good little squeeze. And then let's place those feet back on the mat, hip distance apart. And then we're going to take our hands and we're going to insert them in that nice little small of our back there. Just kind of take those palms. Maybe you want to take both palms, or maybe you want to just take one hand, but place it in that small part of your back. And then we're going to work with our breath as we press into those palms, into the hands. So as you inhale, your back kind of has that little curve, and then when you exhale, you're going to press down into those hands. Using that breath as you inhale, and the releases that back. Exhale, pressing down into those hands. Or rocking that pelvic. So you inhale and exhale. Breathing in that peace. Releasing that peace. Take that through one more time. Find your way into stillness. We're just going to change that up a little bit by taking your arms down by your side and work with that same movement and find that you're going to come down a little bit farther. Maybe you feel a little bit of difference in that as you inhale, exhale through that flow. And then finding your way into stillness. Taking our hands with our palms are down, let's go ahead and sweep them up, out to the side, up. Take them up as far as you can. Maybe you find you take them all the way up overhead, or maybe you just kind of come at the shoulder. Find that space, find that stretch. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and turn your palms up. Just kind of work with it, either palms down or palms up. But feel that stretch, drawing those arms back. Maybe your shoulder blades are coming together a little bit. Feeling that stretch on the inner arms when your palms are down. If you turn them palms up, it releases the pressure a little bit. So work with what works best for you. Remembering to find that breath. And now with your next breath, maybe slide those arms back down more into a T. Softening, draw those knees in towards your chest. And then let's go ahead, drop them down to the right side, coming into that spinal twist. Now, if you'd like, you can deepen that stretch by taking your eye gaze over to that left shoulder. Coming back to center with your eye gaze, draw then your legs up back to center and release them down to the other side. Again, you can keep your eye gaze up top, or you can go ahead and turn and twist, deepening that stretch. Bring your eye gaze back to center, draw those legs back up towards the center, give yourself a nice good little squeeze, rolling and rocking up that back. And then let's gently roll onto your favorite side. And then we're going to make our way all the way up into our tabletop. Finding your way into tabletop. Take a moment there. Get yourself acclimating back up. Taking that time to align yourselves. And let's go ahead and begin with our cat and cow flow. So drawing on that breath, inhale up, draw the crown of the head forward, dropping that belly, push the tailbone back. Remembering not to sink down into the shoulders, but then releasing that breath. Draw the chin in, open those shoulder blades, push the tailbone down. Working at your pace, your breath. Work through that flow. Maybe you want to add some movement, maybe shifting your hips from side to side. Or maybe when you come into your cow, you want to lean forward into those palms. Or when you come back into your cat, you want to curl those toes and lean back a little bit. Again, be playful. Do what your body is asking for. What does it need tonight? Take that through one more time. And let's find our way into a nice neutral spine here. We're going to use our core and our abs here a little bit. We're going to either you can press the top of the feet into the earth or you can curl your toes. But where we're going here is we're going to use this belly strong and we're going to lift our knees up off the mat. So either keep the tops of your feet and we're going to lift from there, or you can curl your toes under, whichever works best for you. But using that breath as we go forward, let's go ahead, inhale up, draw those knees up. And one more breath and release down. Maybe you want to step back and just kind of release the pressure off your wrists. And we're going to come into that one more time. Finding our way into there. Use that breath as you inhale up. And release down. Again, take a moment there to roll out your wrists if you'd like. And then we're going to come back into that table and we're going to come into threading the needle. So we work that through with a couple movements first. So taking that left arm out to the side, inhale, reach up. We're not going to come all the way down yet. We're just going to reach through a little bit because we're opening up those spaces first. Then inhale, reach up further. Exhale, reach through a little further. And then this last time, reach up, open up our arms. And then exhale, let's find our way down onto our shoulders. Find your way down. Coming into that breath. Surrendering into the pose. And now with your next breath, let's go ahead, find your way back out. Finding your way into your table. Let's take that other arm, extend it up. Exhale, reach through a little ways. Inhale up. Exhale, reach a little further. One last time, up, opening up our hearts and chest towards the heavens. And then find your way all the way down onto that shoulder as you make your way into. And with your next breath, find your way back up. Walk your hands back, coming up onto our knees. Inhale, up, sweep those arms up. Let's take a kneeling swan dive forward fold. Inhale all the way up and find your way to heart center. We're going to take our left leg and we're going to step it forward. So let's go ahead and step forward, finding our way into our kneeling lunge. Now you can remain here, or part of your practice is to kind of make that more into a lunge. You're welcome to do that wherever that is for you. Find your way into that lunge. Hands come to heart center. If part of your practice is to go into that higher lunge, kneeling lunge, you can come up onto your back foot if you'd like. Each of us are in different places. Hands come to heart center. Let's go ahead and open up to the outside. Come to that twist. Finding our way back to center. We're going to go ahead and place those hands down on the mat so we can walk that front leg up, feeling that stretch. If we place our hands on the inside, we can swing that leg back around, come up onto our knees, in. Exhale down into that kneeling forward fold, in, up, and come to heart center. Let's go ahead and step forward with the other knee. Again, find your way into that space wherever that is. Coming hands to heart center. And then let's go ahead and turn to the outside. Finding your way back to center, taking those hands to help guide and walk your way back. Hands on the inside so you can draw that leg back. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale down into that kneeling forward fold. Inhale up. Find your way to heart center. Curling those toes back behind, reaching forward, we're going to come into our down dog. So let's go in, make your way up into your down dog. Let's take a moment here to kind of pedal out those heels. And then only when ready, go ahead and find your way into stillness. Keeping those knees nice and soft as you work your heels towards the mat. Your head is dangling down between your ears between your elbows. Take time to surrender into this inverted V, into your down. We're going to go ahead and come into a three-legged dog. So let's go ahead and take that left leg, extend it up towards the heavens. Bringing it back down. Let's go ahead and switch and take the other leg. Drawing that leg back down. Let's go ahead and walk our hands to our feet or our feet to our hands, coming into that nice forward fold. Find your way into either ragdoll or crossing at the elbows, resting on the knees. Wherever that is, it's best for you. Find your way into that forward fold. Releasing your hold, inhale, half up, nice flat back. Exhale down. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Find your way to heart center. Inhale, up, open up arms towards the heavens. Swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half up. Exhale down. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Clasping up at the top, let's go ahead and lean over to the right. Come back to center. Release over to the other side. Come back to center. Let's release that right arm down on the side and then lean. And then let's tick-tock all the way over to the other side. And then finding your way all the way back down into a nice strong bump. Just find your way into that space. Take some time in our breath. Breathing in that peace. Releasing that peace. We're going to go ahead and come into our tree from here. So let's go ahead, find your space, anchor those feet into the earth. Shift your weight over to that right foot. Kickstand out that left. And find your way into engagement. Now your hands may come to heart center. Maybe you want to go some branches. But I challenge you in this pose to stay in that pose as long as it takes you to say the Lord's Prayer or a prayer of your own. But then we'll all meet back up in a nice mountain pose. And go ahead, shake out of that. And go ahead, do that on the other side. So shifting your weight over to that left foot. Kickstanding the right one out to find your way into engagement. And again, I encourage you to go through the Lord's Prayer or a prayer of your own. Then again, we'll meet all back in mountain. So again, hands can be heart center, maybe you've grown some branches, wherever that is. Wherever your peace is. And go ahead and step. We find our way into our warrior one. So let's go ahead, step forward with that right foot, step back with the left. Find your way into your warrior one. As you settle into that, when ready, go ahead and draw those arms up. Remembering to ground down through that back foot, really squeezing down through those glutes. Drawing those arms back behind, interlock them, draw up long and tall with the body. Let's extend down into our humble warrior. Now we're going to add on to that from here. Let's place our hands down on the mat in front of us. So we kind of have a triangle with that foot and the hands are extended. Shorten up your stance. And we're going to come into standing splits. So that's taking that back leg and extending it up towards the heavens. coming into that standing splits. Finding that balance. And then let's go ahead, place that foot back on the earth. You're coming into that forward fold. Inhale, half up. Exhale down. Inhale, sweep those arms up and find your way to heart center. Let's take a moment here. Let's go ahead and step forward with that other leg now, finding our way into our warrior one on the other side. Take time to align yourselves. When ready, draw those arms up. Remembering to keep the shoulders down. Our palms are facing one another. Feel that grounding down through that back outer foot, the edges of that outer foot. And with your next breath, sweep those arms back behind, interlock them in up, and exhale, come. Remembering, even though we're coming forward, drawing our crown of our head forward, remember to keep that balance or that weight distributed between that front and back leg. And we're going to go ahead, come into that standing split. And if you would prefer, you could just come into a forward fold if you'd like. Otherwise, let's go ahead, place those hands out in front, making a triangle with that front foot and the hands on either side. Shorten up your stance a little bit. And when you're ready and into that balance, go ahead, draw that leg up. Otherwise, like I said, come into just a forward fold. Place that foot back on the mat, coming into that forward fold. Inhale, half up. Exhale down. Inhale, sweep those arms up and find your way to heart center. Drawing on that breath for a moment, settling into the earth. Let's go ahead and come into the long side of your mat. So as we come into the long side of your mat, let's go ahead and take that into coming down into our goddess. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead, come up onto your toes, those feet, or keep those feet planted on the earth. But inhale up, extend down into a wide angle forward fold. Sweep that ground and then find your way back up to heart center. Let's take that left foot, turn the toes to the short edge of the mat. Take that right foot, push the heel away. Arms come out nice and wide, bend that front foot, finding our way into our warrior two. Take our eye gaze out over those fingers. Turning that front palm up, drop that back arm, find your way up into reverse warrior. Again, your eye gaze can be up towards the heavens, or you can go ahead and bring your eye gaze back to that back foot. Whatever works best for you. Letting God's light shine down. Feeling his presence, feeling his grace. Feeling the peace that surrenders onto us. Finding your way back down to warrior two. Let's go ahead, turn those thumbs up, turn our bodies or our feet back to that nice long edge. And drop back down into goddess. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Find your way back up. Coming to heart center. Now we're going to go ahead and take that right foot, pivot on the heel, turning the toes to that short edge of the mat. Take the left foot, pivot down the toes, pushing the heel away. Find your way into your warrior two on the other side. Turning your front palm up, dropping that back arm, let's go ahead, find your way into your reverse. Again, your eye gaze could be up towards the heavens, or taking that eye gaze to that back leg. Knowing that the sensation of that pose changes with either set of eye gazes. Finding your way back to warrior two. Again, facing those palms up, face forward to that long edge of that mat. And this time, draw those hands into heart center. And heel toe, find your way back. Center. Then we'll go ahead and face front forward onto the mats again. We're going to go ahead, inhale up. We're going to come around into our chair. Your way into your chair, hands come to the center. Let's go ahead, drop those arms back, find your way into your airplane. Now you can come up onto your toes, or you can keep those feet planted on the earth. Or if you'd like, you can come into your one-legged airplane pose, drawing one of your legs back, because we're going to come into this a second time. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that left leg back, finding my way into balance. Or you can keep both feet planted on the earth. Coming back down, inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, come around back into your chair, this time lightning bolt. Find your way into lightning bolt. And then let's sweep those arms back. Again, coming light on those heels. And if you'd like to balance on the other foot, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, keeping those feet planted on the earth. And now with your next breaths, inhale, sweep those arms up and find your way to heart center. We're going to make our way down onto the mat. So let's go ahead. You can either go ahead and sit down, or you can join me in coming down in the squat. Go ahead and releasing on down. Drawing those arms out nice and wide. Coming back to center. And then we'll release to the other side. And coming back to center. And then we all make our way down onto our bones. And let's go ahead and extend those legs out front. Shake them out. Shaking them out. Keeping those feet flexed, the knees are soft. We're going to come into that forward fold. So inhale up, exhale. Let's make it a big. As you surrender into that fold, you're drawing your belly towards the tops of your thighs. You're letting the chin drop and draw in. And you use that breath to sink each time a little further into that fold. And then gently make your way back up. Let's go ahead and take that left leg, cross it over the right. Now you can keep that other leg extended, or part of your practice is to tuck it in. Go ahead and tuck it in. But now let's take our arm and wrap it around. Inhale up, exhale, find your way to the back. Sitting up long and tall. Your eye gaze over that back shape. And then gently find your way back. Maybe you want to take just a little counter twist. And then come back. Now we're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. Draw that leg over. Tuck it in if you'd like, or keep it extended. Wrap that arm around. Inhale up. Exhale, you turn. And gently find your way back to center. You want to do a little counter twist there. And then let's draw those feet together as we come into butterfly. So we want to take a minute to just flutter those wings. Go ahead then. Let's go ahead, sit up long and tall. Your arms maybe will be pressing out towards here. The other thing too I'm going to introduce, or maybe you've been doing it before, but I'm going to introduce turtle. Anybody here done turtle before or heard of turtle? So turtle is where you take your hands and you tuck it in underneath and you come forward as you would into your butterfly folding. So either way, so you can keep your hands up on top and gently come forward, or you can tuck if you're looking for a little bit deeper stretch. You tuck them in underneath. And with your next breath, let's find your way back up. So from here, let's find our way down onto our backs. As we make our way down, gently drawing those knees in towards our chest. Give yourself a nice good squeeze and release that tension on your back. Rolling out that back. And then from there, let's go ahead and extend both legs up that invisible wall, keeping those feet flat, flexed, arms out to the side. We're going to do one more core activity here before we come into our rest, but we're going to go ahead from here, drawing those legs up. Using that breath, we're going to drop them to the side, drop them down to the side about 30 degrees. So using that breath as you inhale, exhale, let's go ahead, drop them to the left. Drop them over to the left. Then find your way back to center. And let's release them over to the other side. Finding your way back to center. Draw those knees in towards your chest. Gently rock that out and go ahead and do whatever little counter pose your body maybe is asking for. That might be a bridge flow, or maybe that's extending your legs all the way out and your arms overhead, or whatever it might be. That counter movement that is needed in your body before you come into a restful state as you find your way into your savasana, into your rest. And when you're ready to come into that rest, maybe you want to put your socks on or put a blanket over you, whatever that might be, but find your way into that space. And as you come into that space, we settle back into that rhythm of our breath, finding that inner peace with our breath, slowing it down, knowing that with each breath, we're settling into the earth a little further. And as you settle into the earth, you relax those legs, relaxing those hips, relaxing those arms. You're softening your face. You create space between the bridge of your nose and your brow. And then you just take this time to relax and to enjoy and connect. Peace does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. I receive peace and I give peace. I invite you when ready to begin bringing movement back into your limbs. Maybe that's wiggling your toes or wiggling your fingers. But then only when ready, begin to make your way onto your favorite side as you come into that fetal position. And as you come into that fetal position, may we praise God for the gift of unity that the Spirit creates in our relationships, placing others perfectly in our lives and inspiring us as Christians to work together with the gifts that we have been blessed with. And when we reflect on your words and look through your eyes, we see that the gifts fostered in us to further your plans. We invite you to continue to make your way back to a nice, easy seated position as we come to the close of our practice this evening. As we draw on that breath, inhaling and releasing, may we all have peaceful thoughts. Drawing on that breath and releasing. May our words be peaceful. Drawing on that breath and releasing. May our actions be peaceful. Peace be with each and every one of you. And namaste. And thank you very much for letting me practice with you a second week. Sandy will be back next week. And as a reminder, again, next week is your last session. Hopefully then you'll all have an opportunity to sign up for the next session. So thank you. Have a